The topic for my project was the Russian Revolution, and the content areas addressed were related to 6th grade social studies standards, in which the students were required to describe the major developments following the Russian Revolution. We also incorporated some language arts standards as well, including the use of technology and the internet to produce published writing, also including multimedia components, and producing clear and coherent writing in the development, organization, and style. Along with those, we also use the ISTE-NETS standards, and there's quite a few of these. Major ones included develop technology-enriched learning environments that enable all students to pursue their individual curiosities and become active participants. That was a really big one. Just an overview of the lesson itself. During this previous lesson, students had learned the various causes for the Russian Revolution, and in this project they were asked to choose a side, either in support of the Russian monarchy or in support of the revolution. And students were required to support their decisions with evidence from the lesson and also through research. And students could work together or with a partner, or they could work individually. And they spent about 1 week in the computer labs in the media center completing this project. The process of research required them to use higher order thinking to find evidence, analyze it, and then to evaluate whether or not it supported their position. And the technology components of the students were required to use a Web 2.0 tool, and they could choose from Voki, GoAnimate, a podcast, or if they could come up with something on their own that was acceptable and they ran it by me, I allowed them to do that. So several students actually ended up using a VoiceThread as well. Using their research notes, they created scripts, and from those scripts they chose 5 to 10 key words and terms, and they turned those into a word cloud, and they could use either Tuxedo or Wordle to do this, and they had to turn that in and submit it to Edmodo before the end. The final portion of the project was to submit these two products, the Web 2.0 product, the Voki, the podcast, the GoAnimate, as well as their Wordle or Tuxedo to Edmodo. And from there, students were able to comment. They had to make at least one comment on another student's work and critique them in writing a glow or grow statement. So they'd have one positive thing and one thing they could do to improve on. So they actually had to analyze and critique another student's work. The lesson was differentiated by having various modes of products and student choice. There's also flex groupings, anchor activities, and all of these were used to best meet the needs of students. Students were guided in their project using a non-graded checklist, and here's what it looks like. And they were also provided and assessed using a rubric, and this is what the rubric looks like. It has directions and then the exemplaries. And at the end, there was also student reflection questions, and these questions were uploaded to Edmodo, and students responded to them on Edmodo. Speaking of Edmodo, here are some of the final products of these. So this group actually had to use my GoAnimate account, but this is what they did. I'll just show a few of these.
Dimitri, why are you upset? I am so hungry. Why won't the Tsar feed us and give us better jobs?
We want bread. We want bread. We want bread. The Tsar does not provide for his people. We need food, jobs, and equality.
So that's just part of the GoAnimate. This group did a Voki. Looks like this group did a Voki as well. Let's see.
As a member of the Red Army, I say down with the Tsar. Tsar Nicholas does not provide for his people. We are hungry, our wages poor, and our working conditions are terrible. He has drawn us into war after war. He sits in his palace and frolics on vacations, but his people are suffering.
So as you can see there, and you can see here's a glow statement. Challenges that arose in the lesson were time. Originally I had planned for 3 days, but it actually took 2 additional days to complete this assignment. So it took like about a week in the Media Center computer labs. Also, many students were not as familiar. They knew about one Web 2.0 tool. We used Voki a lot in class already, but the others they weren't as familiar with, and so some of them were frustrated. They really wanted to try a new one, but they didn't feel comfortable doing it, so they ended up going back to something that they felt comfortable doing. Um, I would plan to use all of these Web 2.0 tools weeks or months prior to actually doing this project, if I was going to do this project again, so that students are not necessarily thrown in the deep end without any experience. So if I did like at least one Voki a couple months ago, one Go Animate a couple months ago, then students would be more familiar with those and less frustrated. We ran into a few problems with students not having email addresses for websites like GoAnimate, and so some of them had to use my account to complete their projects. Overall, those students enjoyed this project, and it challenged them to place themselves in historical figures' shoes and see the event from that figure's perspective. And this allowed them to have a unique vision on those events, and this wouldn't have been possible without the use of technology.